All right. Welcome back, everyone, to another AIME Community Pulse. My name is Marc Summers. I'm the founding president of AIME, and with us is the one and only Jonathon Haddad, our AIME chairman and CEO. John, thanks for taking time out of your busy, hectic schedule with three young kids to hop on this with us.
No, man, we all got a lot going on, and I love these. Obviously, we've done them every quarter now since I've stepped into this role, and it's just nice giving the community updates, filling them in on where we're at, highlighting some of our lenders, some of our vendors, and just chopping it up, talking life. But UWM Live, can you fill us in on the traction that we had in Jeopardy and the success of that?
Oh, yeah. So if you weren't at UWM Live, Jonathon had this idea last year, and we did it a little bit, but our team, our amazing AIME team, had a TV up, and we did live Jeopardy with a buzzer and everything. I think that was of that whole vendor room or cathedral, basically what it is. I think that was the biggest hit. People kept coming over to us, asking us if they can play. It was an absolute riot. And the funny thing about it is, we all know ourselves, and I'm not the biggest VA guy, right? I do probably 2 a year. Every time I went up against someone, they would say VA for 200, VA for 600, and they kicked the crap out of me, which is okay. You know what I mean? They had fun with it, but no, our booth was buzzing. Great conversations, great to catch up with a lot of people, great to meet a lot of new people. And it's funny out there because sometimes people hear of AIME, but they don't really know exactly what it is. And to be able to have that, eye to eye contact and have those conversations, our booth was buzzing.
It is funny. Like, last year we talked about it with the transition and things that were happening. It's just understanding the energy, understanding the atmosphere. And, we're not afraid to talk about those things. That's something you and I have always gone down the path of. And just to feel the energy from the community this year was just unbelievable. And by the way, they were guideline questions for those that don't know. Some people, by the way, crushed it. Some of these questions were very difficult. And the amount of knowledge some of our community has around all of these topics, from VA to FHFA to the political side of things, who's leading what, was eye-opening to me. But people love when you have the chance to show off your knowledge, why not? Why?
Right.
So we have a bunch of plans for it. I want to go up against some of the community. I think people will be surprised. I'll carry my own weight over there. Also, just to get an idea of where everybody else's head is at. But Fuse, by the way, Mark. So for those that don't know, we are going to start making some pretty major announcements over the next couple weeks. We have 38% of the rooms already accounted for and filled. And for our vendors and lenders out there, we have 60 booths available. 40, I believe almost 45 have been taken at this point. So we're down to our last 15. And it's crazy, Mark, because we haven't even announced speakers just yet. And
right.
Y'all will love the speakers. We got a huge surprise for the community that people are going to be shocked at. How did you guys pull that off? And we pulled it off by a lot of conversations, putting our heads just down and staying focused on the big tasks at hand as we start to understand AIME's role and what we're going to really be doing to push the broker community forward. We have some ideas at the highest level possible from real decision makers to get in front of the mortgage broker community and make our lives not easier. That's the wrong word, but to give us a constant, fair advantage when it comes to competing against anybody else in the industry and in the space. So that's where my head is at as we go through this. So what updates do you got for Fuse? We have a VA summit around the corner at TAG. If you could fill us in on that. I know we have a special guest today.
Do you want me to fill us in on that?
What's good?
On TAG?
No, the VA summit, it's tied to TAG.
Okay. Sorry, you threw me for a loop there. Sometimes we go off the cuff on these things. No, so the VA summit at TAG is, listen, this is all I'm going to say about it. As you know, whenever we put something on at any event, whether it's our own, whether it's UWM Live, whether TAG, some of the biggest events out there, the VA summit is going to be absolutely amazing. Okay. We bring in the best people. We have a great partnership with Vetted VA. Listen, if you are interested in anything VA, you're not going to want to miss it. That's basically what it boils down to. We all know VA is literally one of the best loans out there. Some people know a little bit about it. Some people don't know a lot about it. But at the end of the day, when you hop into any of our VA summits, you're going to get a lot out of it. If you're not, and I'm going to throw myself in there, really not hitting VA hard, you're kind of missing the boat. I'll call myself out. I'm going to make sure that I do my due diligence, but I mean, how do you hype that up even more? I mean, like the VA summits are absolutely amazing.
They are, and what we're doing, y'all, as you can see. So we did WMN Summit. We did that as a lead up to WM Live. Huge success.
Huge.
Now, another major event with TAG put on by EPM, strong partner of AIME and has been for quite some time. By the way, if I can get a couple extra tickets, so if you do need your tickets and haven't done it yet, reach out to me directly. I will connect you with the right people at EPM to get that off the ground. But also our people that have put together the VA side of things. You're going to hear from one of them today. I'm actually wearing a Trust But Verify shirt repping our vetted VA community and just all the great things that they've been able to do. But it is about the knowledge. The more knowledgeable you are, the more conversations you can have with these types of clients, and understanding the lingo and understanding the conversations, how to talk to an agent about it, especially with the fact that there's still negative connotations with some agents about VA loans. This is what it's about. It's deeper than just the sale and how to structure it. It's the knowledge, because when you're that knowledgeable and you get into a potential debate with somebody, or maybe we'll call it a healthy confrontation, being armed with the knowledge are what's going to allow you to navigate that conversation, as opposed to just being emotional and frustrated. So we are excited to talk deeply about that. Now, Marc, with the new portal, we've been launching that. Escalations have been a hot take for us. People don't realize, y'all, the amount of times people thank me, but I tell them you got to thank Marc Summers. It's absurd because you handle most of, if not all of those. And then you know the right people, you know how to have that conversation. But how has that been transitioning into the new portal versus our old portal? And what have you seen from the escalations?
Nothing but great things. You know what I mean? I think our old one was a good system, but this one is more foolproof. It allows us to really know what's going on there. And let's just be honest here. Sometimes these escalations, people are giving us the information in the heat of battle. You know what I mean? And they're very like anxious, sometimes upset. And I think that's the good thing about this is when I can kind of pop in there and kind of be the middleman, or, you know, and it's not just me as well. I do handle quite a few of them, but the team, you know, like we go into this with a different mindset, and it's like, hey, we just need a little help here. Walk us through this. Then we also get both sides of the story. You know what I mean? Because sometimes we just get one side of it, and then we get both sides. We try to figure out how to meet it in the middle. I mean, guys, listen, if you're listening to this right now, escalations is arguably one of our biggest value props out there. And with that being said, you got to use it. You know what I mean? We try to do our best. I think we're shooting over like 95% on them right now with a success rate, you know, and it has to deal a lot with our team, how with the system set up, our great partners, you know what I mean? Sometimes they step in. It's amazing when they see it come from AIME. They kind of, within reason, drop everything they're doing. And that's really awesome to be able to help the community, to be able to sit there and say, there is value in this association in many different ways, and this is one of them. And I'm just glad to be a part of it and, you know, kind of wear that hat a lot and help people out.
And one of the things, y'all, because Marc is spot on and he's very humble about how he gets in front of them, but he does, to the detriment of his own business, a lot of times is jumping on these fires for us. And just to give you guys an idea, the savings this year alone has been over $500,000 in commissions. And the way we calculate that is we do an average just based on the states, loan sizes, and then we do a margin of a little under 2% margin, which is basically where a majority of the community is on the broker side, is just right under 2 points is the averages right now. So that's how we're calculating the savings. We believe it'll be well over $1 million plus every single year, and just based on the market that changes accordingly. So that's a lot of money in your pocket. And some people make the argument, well, John, what can you do that we can't? And it's not a matter of what we can or cannot do. It's a matter of how you have the conversation. You all know this, and no one's going to convince me otherwise as an originator. It's easier for me to work on somebody else's loan than it is to work on my own loan. It is what it is. The emotions are high a majority of the time. You're thinking about the real estate agents. This is my money on the line. And so having that third person look at it from a bird's eye view to be able to correlate the message to the decision makers you just can't convince me that that's not valuable. I've just been doing this way too long and have saved thousands of loans with my experience in retail and in the broker space. So Marc, thank you for everything that you do, my friend. Thank you for being part of this. And by the way, y'all, Fuse, your ticket is now included when you have a membership with AIME directly. That's been a huge shift for us that people have been very excited for. And part of that membership also includes escalations. Now, the escalations are different based off your tier and the membership that you sign up with, but pay very close attention to it. Your membership goes a very long way. Marc, thank you for everything, my friend. And without further ado, we have Terry Davis from Cotality up next to talk about some rebranding, to talk about making it a even playing field. And also, I think she'd have an argument with Marc here about the best booth and what caused the most buzz. I saw her face off into the distance there. We mentioned it, but y'all have so much information. Previously known as CoreLogic, have rebranded into Cotality. Terry, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you.
Thank you, John. It was delightful to see you all at UWM Live. Your booth was hopping. We were right next to each other, as you know. And so I saw lots of people flaming out at Jeopardy, lots of like high fives and victory dances. It was hilarious to watch brokers flock to the Jeopardy booth. Super fun. We also had fun at our booth. So thanks for making it kind of lively, just having the two of us next to each other.
No, we appreciate you, and we've been building our relationship as we talk through this. And I'm so familiar with CoreLogic because of my time in retail, and now we've been really peeling back the layers. But the rebrand happened recently to Cotality. Can you just explain that rebrand to the community so people understand where we're headed and what it once was, so we don't have the confusion or anything on our side?
100%. And boy, was that a topic at UWM Live, like who is Cotality? I'm like, well, have you heard of CoreLogic? And many people really in the broker community only know CoreLogic even as a source for credit. Credco is a big brand. Maybe fraud or flood. You know, we've been an origination service provider to most mortgage brokers. That's how we've been viewed, but we're a much bigger, different company than just mortgage services. And that's what kind of drove our rebrand. And so just to kind of explain who Cotality is, you know, we have 5.5 billion data points about U.S. property, 99.5% coverage of U.S. property in America. It's ridiculous. You've been to the Discovery Center, so you've seen the amazing ways we light up data with our insights, from insights for marketing to insights about hazard insurance. Like we cover industries like the property insurance industry, renovation industry, obviously mortgage, real estate, and we're also in 5 countries. So we're doing what we do in the US, also in the UK and Australia, New Zealand, and Canada. So we're a very big company. And we thought we should be represented in terms of the depth of our data and the information services and insights we derive from that data and make available to our markets by moving from kind of a mortgage-centric brand, CoreLogic, to something that sort of showed the imagination of the totality and vitality of CoreLogic in the new brand Cotality. So that's the story behind Cotality.
That's what I was about to ask. Totality, but for CoreLogic. So Cotality, I love the thought process behind there. And, you know, it's funny when you think about brands, you don't really always consider what it took to go into designing the brand, whether it's the name. And it's really cool when organizations have that dialed in, where you're able to articulate it in a sense that the audience understands. A majority of the broker community is mom and pop shops, as you, and part of that is branding. You're branding at a local level. What does it sound like? What does that feel like? What's the intentionality behind it? So I love your intent. I love where your head is going down that path, which is like, we're much deeper than just credit. We have so much now. How do we bring the totality of us to the space? And, you know, for those that don't know, I was six years plus in the retail environment, and in the retail environment, we had access to CoreLogic right away. I thought this was just something everybody gets access to. For example, let me give you a perfect example. Purchases, the systems would automatically calculate taxes based off of the new tax rate for the next year, because the consumer, based on the state you're in, I'm in Michigan, the taxes get reassessed, and it's a whole thing, and taxes skyrocket. Certain states are different. So when I'm at retail, I did the numbers. They come back to me, the date that the taxes are due, how much I have to collect for prorations, aggregate adjustment, all that's done. So I was like, great. I come to the broker space, not realizing that wasn't there. So I send my first loan out, and then I get to the closing table, and as we're balancing, taxes go up $6,000. Now I'm calling the client sweating. I'm lowering my comp to do what's right by the consumers. I'm like, what just happened? Didn't realize that the broker space didn't have a lot of this access. What you're doing is you guys have peeled back the layers and said, hey, we see the broker community rising. We see market share going up. What can we do to get in front of this community and make it feasible, make it cost effective? That's what your team has done. So you have some new products. You have some new things that you designed. I'd love to kind of open the floor. Where are you guys headed? What's next for Cotality? What's next for the broker channel?
Appreciate that so much, John. You're spot on. We serve the top 100 lenders and what they consume from us has really been a competitive advantage for them. And we're leveling the playing field by delivering that same data to brokers on what we call the Araya platform. And if I could just share a quick slide, I think this kind of encapsulates what we have in the market today, and we're going to grow and build on. So we find that most mortgage lenders leverage our data for marketing. And so the first emphasis has been on bringing intelligent marketing solutions and making them digestible and consumable by mortgage brokers on the Araya platforms. Think of it as a one-stop shop for all things property data related. And what we're really going to be strong in out of the gate right now is retention of your current customers and knowing them, understanding and doing deep property research on the borrowers you serve, the real estate agents you work with, really being able to help you drill into all that data we have, 50 years of history on every property in the United States. And then really help nurture customers through our One Homeowner brand. So you'll see on the slide there are 4 products that we're in market with: property intelligence, market intelligence, precision marketing, which is unique to Cotality, and One Homeowner. And if I could just explain very quickly what research, plan, retain, and nurture kind of mean. I mentioned property intelligence and research, but that's when you mentioned, for example, taxes and what the current taxes are on a property and what they're likely to be. Property intelligence, that's just one of many data points about any subject property in the United States that we can provide you information about. We can run an AVM, we can do floods, we can tell you about building permits, outstanding liens, just any insight on a subject property you wonder about. And what's great about that tool is because we want brokers to be trusted advisors to their customers and their referral partners, all of the data available in the research tools are available as a PDF report that you can neatly send to your client or to your referral partner to demonstrate your command of information about the subject, the properties in your community. So that's really about not only research, but also creating depth and connection and putting you in a trusted advisor position. And then every broker is looking to grow. And that isn't always just buying lead lists, but also understanding your market. Who are the referral resources in your market doing business that serves you best? For example, Nate's on later to talk about VA. If you wanted to better understand which agents in your market were representing VA buyers, and those were the folks you wanted to build relationship with, market intelligence is the tool that will provide you that insight. And not just which brokerages and who works for those brokerages and what their mix of business is, but also what is their name and phone number and what is their email address, which is also very valuable. And then uniquely, what we allow folks to do is to upload their database from their CRM, and we'll enrich that database for every customer that you have, whether you've served them in mortgage or they're just someone that you're keeping in touch with and nurturing. You tell me their current property address, and I will tell you what their equity available is. I'll give you an AVM on that property. I'll remind you when they bought that property, what the existing liens are on that property. And the bonus is precision marketing will tell you whether or not that consumer is out looking at MLS listed properties. And so we can put you in the position of knowing before your competition if that consumer is on the move and give you an opportunity to reach out and win that loan. And then finally, what we know everyone struggles with is nurturing relationships after a transaction. It's so hard to keep in touch with your account base. You're looking forward to the next deal, and you're not necessarily strong at nurturing customers. And just having like a rate drop indicator is not where you want to be, and being relevant and sustaining a relationship with brokers or with your consumer. And so brokers need a tool like One Homeowner. And One Homeowner is similar to other products in the market, but Cotality has sort of taken it to the next level. It isn't just, hey, let me tell you what your home is worth and engage in my portal so that when you need a refi or home equity loan, you remember me. This is about tools that enable consumers to maintain their home, understand what the value of their home would be if they did certain home improvements, connects them to service providers, provides them education, and always keeps your brand, because this is a white labeled branded product. Email content comes from you and your email, and enables you to bring your referral partners into it. So it's your ecosystem to really keep those customers close for life. So these are just the 4 products that we've initially launched to brokers, and we have more coming in July. And we're super excited to continue to really bring value to the broker community and level the playing field with retail.
You know, you do it in such a way where you're able to explain it and express, and you were talking, you know, that just the way that you talk about it, it's like, yeah, there may be other competitors out there that do something similar, but the difference is we have so much more data. We have so much more information. I don't know how much you can speak on this, but from the retail side and just from the future, what you guys see, you guys are doing a lot of predictive analytics, casting, you know, figuring out what will come next. The past client, I just feel like people don't really understand the magnitude of how some of these massive retail lenders leverage their past client. And let's be clear, y'all, that's not a bad thing. I just want to make sure we're on the same page there. If a consumer is going to do something and they've already done something with you, wouldn't you want them to do something with you again?
Yeah.
That's like what my head does. But what's the data indicate about past clients? What's it showcase to where, hey, if people can remain front end focus, that they have the best opportunities to win these past clients over? Do you have anything along those lines?
We do. I mean, a couple of data points. One recently from Stratmore, that only about 18% of borrowers return to their previous loan officer for refinance. Even massive lenders who have giant servicing portfolios on average refinance 30% or less of the customers in their refinance in their portfolio. So, you know, and it's not kind of a huge leap to understand that if you only make an ACH payment once a month for your mortgage and you're not in touch with someone, you don't really think, and your loan's probably been transferred 3 times, the servicer isn't your original originator, you don't think to go back to them for a loan, right? And so retention is about nurturing the relationship, and we really want to enable brokers to do that. You guys serve consumers better. And why wouldn't you want all of the value of the data available to serve that consumer best at your fingertips? And that's what we're trying to deliver.
And it's, you know, even when I was in retail, one of the things that when I was there that was mentioned is, you're right. Like the refi side, you can anybody can get in front of it, but the purchase is very community driven.
Very community driven.
And you're seeing it. Like you're seeing all these companies, they're buying, they're spending a lot of money, and they because that's just what the data indicates. And you got how people are preparing for what's to come. Let's just call it what it is.
Yeah.
Yet people are starting to see the light. They're starting to, oh, thank God, there's opportunity. There's things around the corner.
Oh.
And what you're doing with the homeowner side, when you talk about the broker being front and center, can you just dive deeper into that? Like now you're logging in, your consumer seeing it. Cause like, here's what I think some brokers are thinking, right? Is this like another step? Do I got to do more on this situation? And for my head, it's like, no, now you build this ecosystem, you build this infrastructure. It's now harder to leave you. Also, like in retail, what they would tell us all the time is the grass isn't greener. Well, the reason that that's said is because of the systems that incubate. You don't realize how much additional you have to do. Yeah. You're that off and saying, no, we'll do it for you now. Here's that. Like, so what's the mindset? How would you talk to somebody about going into that environment and being comfortable with it?
Thank you for asking that question. I should have elaborated. So what's great about One Homeowner in the Consumer Hub is you'll invite your consumer to the hub and they'll log in and they'll automatically log in thereafter, right? But it's kind of lights out in terms of the amount of engagement you need to push to the consumer. The portal in and of itself, branded for you, has 15 customer contact areas that if the consumer interacts with those, you'll be alerted about what they're interested in. And we will email them from your email account with your brand, with timely insights and information that is Cotality content driven for you to the customer, that continues to put you in a position of being a trusted advisor and reminds them to go to the portal for additional insights and information. And so it's just this obvious that the customer didn't know they needed this until they have it. And, being a homeowner is hard. So giving them tips and tricks and intelligent information about homeownership and their community and the market and the neighborhood and what's transacting in the community, all the things they might do on another portal like Zillow, they'll be able to do in this portal in a way that really enables you to stay connected to them and bring your referral partners along so that you benefit your real estate relationships along the way.
And from my understanding, Terry, it's deeper than just agents. I can add contractors, I can add paint, so just to give y'all an idea. So for me, whenever I close a loan, I always have like a list of contacts, and these are people I built relationships with, and I let the clients know that these are fair people. Here's why. But instead, just to give you guys an idea, imagine that you go to a painter, right? Imagine you go to a general contractor, imagine you go to a homeowner's insurance agent, and they become part of your ecosystem. And then imagine that this person, whether it's a contractor, a painter, a financial advisor, sees what you're doing for them. And it's all being done automated now at this point. You get the initial. Where do you think they're going to send their referrals to for the community listening?
Yeah.
You're creating an ecosystem within your community that is hard to leave. Why would people want to leave supporting their community? This is a local person in your area, someone I trust. Here's why I trust them. And now it's front and center. And they're getting referrals because of you, with you having to do nothing except the initial introduction and
100%. Yeah, no, 100%. And this is unique in that you bring your referral partners, your painter, your roofer, the maintenance guys, anything that you in your little ecosystem that you've built in your community, you can bring into your portal. And that's the differentiation for you. It's fantastic. And we know origination is local, real estate is local. This enables you to really differentiate yourself from, or at least I'd say at least level the playing field with those large, even broker owned or real estate owned companies, like, who owns Redfin now?
Yeah.
For those folks, right? So just again, trying to keep the broker in front and leveling the playing field to position you to be best able to serve your past clients, give them value.
And I will ask this. So like Rocket bought Redfin, obviously, and have other companies like Lower making acquisitions. And again, this is about business and planning. And like, I always think of it from like a business owner standpoint. They have to appease investors. They're publicly traded. That makes a ton of sense. You have to make sure you're in front of, and you have to have certain profitability, although you're private, still similar makeup of it.
Yeah.
When you see that, as somebody that is looking at data constantly and understanding products constantly and watching the lay of the land, what does that tell you about the importance of protecting our data as brokers the best that we can? Because anyone can buy it. It does. If you have enough money, I'm pretty much at the point in my life where if you have enough money, you can buy basically any data that you want. You might not be able to tie it to a person, but you can see patterns, you can see habits. What is all these acquisitions to you, somebody that is looking at it constantly, mean for the broker channel, but mean for us particularly when it comes to protecting data?
Yeah, I would say you should be very, very skilled at how you build and grow your database, right? It's not just the contact information of old, it's whatever else you can continue to build out about your customer that positions you to be the strongest you can be in terms of understanding that customer's needs and advocating for that customer. And being able to match and append that data with solutions like something Cotality can bring to you to build out a picture that positions you to serve your customers best and grow your business, right? And you can do that now, right? All kinds of things have gotten democratized, and being able to have resources at your fingertips that are, your custom database, and being able to do your own, sort of version of deep learning on your own database. And that's something that we're really excited to bring to market, as more capabilities for brokers to do segmentation and curate audiences and execute campaigns based on the insights we can help you build about your customers.
Terry, thank you. You just explain it so well, and you articulate yourself in a manner that's just like, right? Y'all, like, it's, the tools are here. You have to use them. It's up to you. They've basically taken a multi-billion-dollar industry, not million, actually probably trillion-dollar industry at this point when it comes to data, and they're literally putting it in front of our community. And we don't have to spend the millions of dollars that a lot of these other companies do. And also, you don't have to spend the hundreds of thousands of dollars on hiring data analysts, on hiring product engineers. They're giving you the information and have teams that are willing to help us understand that information if you seem like there's a disconnect.
100%.
If you don't have a solution, if you're not looking at your data, it is very important to ask yourself why. Philosophically, I would just dig deep on why you're not going down that path. And if you are already down that path, ask yourself, what more can I be doing with this data? And if you have questions, our team at Cotality is more than happy to help. Terry Davis, thank you for everything and just being the person that you are and being so helpful to our community and to myself as well. Thank you.
Thanks for having me, John. Just a quick shout out that we have a special AIME member offer that I'd like to make sure everyone knows about, and we'll put it in the chat. But through May 30th, all of the 4 products that I provided on the screen are available for $299 a month. That's probably more than half what you're paying if you're buying those products individually from other providers on a single platform, which makes it so much easier to access and maintain. So check it out. They're $99 each or $299 for all 4. Thank you.
Thank you for everything, my friends. All right. Data. It is not stopping. And one of the other areas for us here is focusing on your business and helping you close more loans. That's the overarching theme. We believe data will help with that. We also believed that the non-QM space is going to be a massive driver as it has been over the last couple of years. But we also believe a lot of clients are becoming much more familiar and accepting of non-QM. There's a lot of high net worth clients, a lot of big investors that are using non-QM. And we have a company that has poured their heart and soul going all in on this platform. And they're here to talk to you today. We have Kenneth Travis from the AIME team. Not everybody knows that Kenneth Travis is also on the AIME team, near and dear to so many people's hearts. This guy is an absolute monster just when it comes to understanding products, understanding the lenders, and just understanding the lay of the land when it comes to the broker space. He's been in the he's been in the mortgage community now 20 plus years with an extensive background when it comes to training, products, and all the other things that he manages to get his hands on. This guy is all over the place. And he's also working, I won't break the news yet, but he's working on breaking a world record for Guinness directly, which is pretty cool to have that kind of mindset. That's who this person is. And we also have Cake Mortgage, Hike Avanesian. I hope I said that right, my friend, as we go through this. But they're going to talk about Cake, what they've done for our community, the non-QM space, the changes that they've made, some of the frustrations that they hear, and the adjustments that they're making, but also a real talk with the community about non-QM and what non-QM means. You know, part of being a mortgage broker is we receive a lot of the income on these loans. We get paid very, very nicely on these products if you do them right. So we got to take some ownership. It's very important we do that. Without further ado, I'd like to bring you both to the stage. And Tommy, the man behind the camera, if you can pull me out, my friend.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for being here. I'm happily here with my friend from Cake Mortgage, as in cake, like a piece of cake, right? Because, you know, getting a mortgage, it should not be like putting IKEA furniture together blindfolded, right? And so it should be a celebration. It should be candles and music and maybe a little champagne or bourbon if you're one of us. But the end of the day, Cake Mortgage, guys, is so committed to delivering us a very streamlined process, simple process to mortgages, and dare I say enjoyable, right? And so today we are, as John said, we're with the man behind the frosting, the baker of all cakes, the man, the myth, my man, Hike. Dude, welcome. So glad you're here. Excited to talk with you today.
I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much for the introduction.
Yeah, you weren't ready for frosting, man, were you? Like,
I was not the baker
the
behind cake. I love it.
Well, let's jump right in, man. One of the things I want to ask is, like, I've noticed that Cake Mortgage is, if not one of the fastest growing companies in the non-QM space. And I want to know a little bit why that is.
I appreciate that. I mean, I remember when we actually fully launched our cake wholesale, it was about October of 2023. So we're about, 16, 17 months in right now. We went from, doing 10 million a month, 15 million a month in fundings. We just finished last month with a record month for ourselves as well, too. So I'm really proud of our team and all the brokers that we've been working with. We just finally crossed our $250 million in non-QM only funded mark. So we definitely have been, growing rapidly. And, a lot of that is thanks to, AIME and our partners and and the brokers that we work with, because they're bringing non-QM to their borrowers, they're bringing it to the table. So I think what makes us stand out compared to most other places is that it's not about the products. It's not about, the underwriting and, guidelines or anything. I think it's the people that matter the most, right? Because when you call our reps here, the number one thing I tell all my reps is you better pick up the phone. You have to pick up the phone. At the other side of that phone call is a loan officer who's trying to get a deal together. They've probably looked at all options. They looked at FHA, VA, conventional, whatever it might be. And non-QM, they might be new to it. They may have never done it in the past before either. So you got to walk them through the process. You got to explain to them, go over the products, go over the pricing, make sure it's as attractive as it could possibly be. At the very minimum, just build a relationship with these guys and, get some more business as much as you can. So I think the personality of our reps is what really drives business more than anything else. It's the people. I think if they were anywhere else, they'd be just as successful. And I'm happy they're here, and I'm happy we're able to build the business that we can.
Yeah, that's a great answer, man. And I tell you, there's so much truth to that because I've experienced it personally. Ben's my rep, and he doesn't seem like an AE to me. He's like my boy, he's like my guy, and it's just the vibe that you guys bring has always been
Absolutely.
great. I certainly can contest to that and appreciate that too. Cause AEs can be boring to talk to sometimes, they really can.
I mean, I think everybody at our company, for the most part, used to all be former loan officers themselves. So, that's one of the things that we look at is what experience levels you have, what's your understanding of it, and really who understands a loan officer more than a loan officer, right? I mean, like we've all been in the place. I've been in the trenches myself. I used to be a loan officer as well. So I remember being at these open houses, building up these relationships with these realtors, hey, let me give you something else that everybody else also offers, but you got me, right? So now not only do you have people that are enjoyable to work with, but you got products that are very different that'll make you stand out and will actually, make you unique and become an actual contender out there. So,
well, let's talk about let's talk about the flavor list that you guys have because I was looking. I always like to bring this up because I love your name. I didn't like the name at first, but I really like the name, especially
it grows on people. That's
it grows on people and knowing the meaning behind it. And but you guys, at the end of the day, you have a cake for everything. You really do. You have the DSCR cake, you have the bank statement cake, you have the foreign national cake, you have the jumbo cakes. I forget all these cakes. And I was particularly looking at the bank statement programs that you guys have.
Absolutely.
I wrote them down, bro. Bundt cake, cheesecake, coffee cake light, cupcake, non-owner occupied, funnel cake, sponge cake. This stuff is hilarious to me, right?
There's
but
a lot
the
of
point
them.
is this, okay? It is attention grabbing and I like it. But with that said, you guys got 12 bank statement loan programs. It's insane. I can't think of one non-QM lender. I can't. That has 12 bank statement loans. And what I love about you guys, I'm going to throw this out because I've personally experienced it. I've sent you guys a borrower and we get it through underwriting. And I just remember Ben calling me back, hey man, we can do this another way. I'm like, really? What do you mean? He's like, we're just going to do like an in-house Alt-A type of program. I don't even know what the hell it was, to be honest with you.
It was a little portfolio program that we did.
And the rate was better. The compensation was a little bit better. And I just remember thinking, man, not very many people would do that. So let's speak to all of the, not all of the programs that you have, but what are some of the most popular cake programs that you guys have right now and that you think that loan officers are benefiting from the most?
Absolutely. So, I mean, at Cake, we really do love our cake. So we love to keep the theme. We try to make the process a piece of cake. We have all the products, cupcake, cheesecake, funnel cake. And so my job, basically, what I like to do is I like to scour the marketplace. And I like to see really what is out there, right? And, we have a CEO. His name is David Abellion. He's young. He's aggressive. He wants to be the biggest non-QM lender out there. So how do we do that? It's by opening up all these products that, everybody might have, but it's always at different places. You have to go to one shop to get this, another shop to get that, another shop to get this. So we try to really look at the market and see what's out there. So what's really been really popular for us lately, our DSCR programs, right? So I love our DSCR programs because unlike most other places where they require you to have a certain level of experience, we'll offer any experience level, right? All the way from being an experienced investor that's had multiple different properties and getting a little bit of incentivized pricing for that versus being, just, hey, I've only owned my own primary residence. I've never owned an investment property. This is my first time investment versus also allowing someone who's never even owned the property ever before, a first time home buyer, right? So we open up all different options out there because realistically speaking, the borrowers, they have different scenarios. Somebody might love the fact that they live at home with their parents or with their family or with their wife or with their girlfriend or whoever, and they don't need to pay rent and they've never owned a property and they don't want to pay these certain rates, for example, for their own primary residence. So they rather buy an investment property and, make some cash flow. So we offer all these variety of programs out there, right? So we're also very popular lately with our foreign national cake, like you said. So it's applicable on most of our programs. Cupcake, coffee cake, cheesecake, they'll all allow it. But I'll call foreign national cake. It's a lot easier to go off of. So we allow people from outside of the country that have never had a U.S. credit, U.S. social, none of that, to be able to buy properties in the U.S. And they can go all the way as high as 75 LTV on it. And it really just opens up more pathways for them. What's really pop? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. No, finish. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say what's really popular that we really love, aside from the standard, bank statement loans and everything else as well, is our P&L, our profit and loss loans as well too. So we do P&L only loans, and we go as high as 85% on those without any bank statements to support the P&L. But if you want to go even higher, you could go up to 90% LTV on it. You would just need to provide 3 months of bank statements to support the P&L as well too. So we're very aggressive on our profit and loss loans. We're very aggressive on our DSCR loans. We basically want to open up as many avenues as possible for our investors to be able to get properties and for our self-employed, entrepreneurs. And there's a lot more of them today than there was 4 or 5 years ago. So, making sure that they're able to qualify for housing is very important, very, very important to ask for us.
It's such a great conversation from a perspective as an originator, right? That in my office, when my team and I are pre-qualifying our prospects and people that are coming in, it's never a question is if we can get them approved. My team now is like, well, wait a minute, let's call Cake, right? Like, let's reach out to these guys. It is just really awesome that it's not, because a lot of times for our clients, it's not a no, it's a let us look into it and, set proper expectations and whatnot.
Absolutely.
The only thing I think that would be very beneficial for Cake is maybe to come out with a program called AIME Cake, maybe KT Cake. I'm just saying. I
like that. KT Cake's great.
Yeah. KT Cake would be great. Yeah.
100% exception approved process on that one.
Something bold, flexible, and unforgettable.
There you go.
Well, let's talk about operations for a second, because I think the op sauce is very important to Cake. I know it's
Absolutely.
something that you guys have, specifically focused on to get, tremendously better on. And, anytime that a loan officer's working with a non-QM lender, you've got to set up proper expectations, because these aren't your traditional FHA, VA, conventional type of loans. And it doesn't mean that you can't close them in 30 days or less. What it means is that they're different. They're a little bit outside the box. Sometimes they're a little bit more challenging to get done. And I just think it's so important. But at the same time, I know that you guys are all about speed, because speed wins. And in a good way, what's Cake doing behind the scenes to make that process smoother, faster, more enjoyable for the originator?
I think I can be the first one to tell you that service is the most important aspect in the loan relationship, right? I mean, like, when it comes to the loan officer, to their borrower experience, at some point the borrower stops caring about the rate. They care about, hey, this has been a terrible process, or has been a great process, or this has been really smooth, or it's taking forever, right? So we 100% can empathize with that. We understand, because at the end of the day, what good does it do for us to have a loan in process for 45, 60 days, paying these underwriters, paying these account managers, paying all of our people, only for us to hear, hey, we're taking a loan elsewhere, right? So The last thing we ever want to do is drop the ball on service. Now, have we dropped the ball on service in the past? I'll be the first to admit it. Yeah, it's happened. We're a non-QM shop. Things can happen because you have to consider when you're used to doing conventional loans or VA loans or FHA loans, you have an automated underwriting system basically telling you what to look for on a loan. So when you look into the fact and you realize that every single non-QM loan is really a manually underwritten loan from start to finish, and some of these come with 30 properties and REOs, and some of them come with nothing, and there's no VORs, or there's, it's a very sporadic set of information. Not every file is ever the same. They're all very unique. They're all very different. So our number one focus is making sure we get the speed in process, we get our underwriters in process, and our closing department. So what I can tell you is on forefront of disclosures, for example, on disclosures, we're working right now on launching our own automated disclosures to be able to disclose automatically. For the most part. Now, there will be the option for you to have a manual disclosure set out in case there's anything you want to review or edit, but that is what's coming next for Cake. As far as our underwriting goes, we've been doubling up on underwriting every single week. So, we make sure that our process is the best, and we're making sure that service is the number one thing for us. So we will definitely listen to our brokers, and anytime there's feedback, we'd love to make sure that we can incorporate that.
Yeah, I love it. I'll tell you, from experience, that's been, what I've seen. I think that it still goes back to the originator, setting proper expectations. You guys can close in 30 days, but
Absolutely.
we've also closed some in 45, sometimes 60, all based upon everything that you just said. And
I've got plenty closed in 10 to 15 days.
Yeah,
we have
exactly.
a huge list of them in 10 to 15 days, especially DSCRs.
Well, there you go. Well, last question. We'll wrap this one up fast. Okay. This is the
Absolutely.
last one. I just feel like I've got to answer it. It's like the disaster scenario deal, right? Where you've got a broker who is, sitting at the table or, getting close to the closing table. He calls you in panic mode, and let's say he's got a self-employed borrower, mid scores, bank statement. It's a mess. And the previous, they got ghosted. What's your next move? Like, what's the cake save of the day?
So the first thing we like to do is, you're saying if it's a file with us that there's an issue going on with it, or
no, it's with someone else, right? Another non-QM lender, and you guys are coming in to save it. Is that something that you guys work with?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it happens all the time. Purchases about to come, purchases COEs in 7-8 days, and next thing you know, this lender is denying it or whatever it might be. First thing I want to do is I tell the broker, listen, submit the full package to me right away. Get me everything out of the way immediately. Secondly, tell me what was the issue with this other lender. What did they give you the problem about? Why were they giving you an issue for it? Or is it, what it might be? So I'll get the exception in the process. And at Cake, we love exceptions. I actually process the exceptions myself beforehand. So if the exception looks good, if I can sell the loan, there's a home for it. Lastly, if it's a pricing situation where, hey, this is where I need to be, we love to work with our brokers. Feel free to reach out to us. Hey, Hike, the pricing is good, but I need an extra 25 bips or whatever it might be, and we'll make sure that we can get there for the borrower. So, whatever it takes, we want to make it a piece of cake. We want to build the relationships. Feel free to ask for literally anything. There's nothing that's too much to ask for from us. The worst we can hear is, hey, I can't do this. But best case scenario, we'll try to find a home for your loan.
I love it. Well, listen, we definitely appreciate you. We honor our partnership with you. Very thankful. If you're listening to this and you are not signed up with Cake, Hike, where do they need to go to get signed up with you guys?
So I would recommend go to caketpo.com. Go on there and click download the broker package and just reach out to us at info@caketpo.com.
And if you're a member of AIME, you can go to the AIME portal and you can get connected there. So, man, we appreciate you so much, and look forward to having you on.
Appreciate you always,
soon.
KT.
Absolutely.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you.
My mic is muted. Turns out, be prepared for that because sometimes you come back live and you have to unmute your microphone. So the power of being prepared is a very important topic. And see these transitions, Tommy? We're getting good over here, my friend. And there's somebody here that is the epitome of preparation. This person is dialed into the education of our community. They're dialed into just veterans in general. They have a deep understanding of how to deliver information in a way that makes it easier to absorb. You've seen his face now probably thousands of times for those that also joined MLO Force and got to see his pretty face guiding us through education. Without further ado, I am rocking the hoodie over here, but our great friend, Nathan Nottingham, if we can bring him up. How are you, sir?
Hey, everybody. I am good. Thank you. Appreciate you wearing the black on black, right? It's super classy. I love that hoodie.
Yeah, yes, sir. I do too. It is one of my favorite hoodies to rock for supporting the heck out of the community. But also, thank you for the hilarious content. I think my favorite one right now is the moped. It looked like it was an older video.
Yeah.
It was Sawyer, is what it looked like. If I remember correctly, but you were hiding him behind the moped.
Yeah.
For those who haven't seen it, go to his Facebook. It is hysterical and the little beep beep sound. But that's what
Beep.
I thought of.
I know we're working on that, man. It's I appreciate it. Those are fun things to do when you got people you like working with. It's easy to make fun stuff, right? If you haven't seen like even some of our Vetivier summer camp videos that we're putting out, Chris literally suplexes our video editor Kaysen into the pool, right? Like that was just so much fun to do.
You got to have fun with it, and it's crazy with you because I've seen how you make everything work. You know, people don't movie magic with you is a real thing that people don't realize. You know, with how you facilitate things and the areas you're in and how you put all this stuff together. But talking VA, man, can you just explain where your passion came from for educating? You have a very extensive background with whether it's you put together the VA, the MLO force, obviously your background prior to it. But where did that from? How did you even enter this space?
It probably started third grade when I became the teacher's pet. No,
I was going to say it's a real story.
Third grade, yeah. No, I mean, I don't know. I think the context though, if I like to explain things maybe a little too much, and so then it became, well, people will actually pay for that if you make them interested in what you're talking about, and so we try. That's what we try to do. The VA thing though, I was just doing this. AI has really engaged my brain in different ways. We talk about this regularly, right? Offline and you know, Christopher Griffith. So my business partner has the bigger beard and the skinnier frame, right? So you'll see us walking around and that's just how it looks. And we're so deep in the AI thing. I just did this really cool thing, Jonathan. My grandfather was born in 1918 in Central Oregon, right? In the middle of nowhere, Oregon. And before he passed in the 90s, he started putting together a genealogy and he put all of his notes in. Back in the day, he was using an old Acer computer. He was scanning stuff in, he was typing it together. And I ran across the fact that I had all these discs. And so I've burned all the discs and I put them into Google and I've started putting things together. And I put all of his records, I'm starting to put it into AI. I'm like, help me tell the story. And it's doing such a killer job right now. And you know what I discovered? It's sorting through stuff so fast, I can't do it because my grandfather was not well organized, but he put a lot of stuff together. I just found his certificate of release from the USS Portland right after like World War II was ending. It's November of 1945. He got his honorable discharge papers. Like, and I didn't know he had collected all this stuff. I would have never have found it. And so I'm watching this going, oh my gosh. Like I was so excited I found that. I'm even like building the rest of the stories because he's putting timelines of where he was in service in on this battleship, the USS Portland, which was decommissioned shortly after. And you know, my dad served in the Navy, my during Vietnam, and I thought I was going to go military and didn't make it. Also, my father was kind of adamant. He's like, I didn't fight for you to go back in the military. I fought for you to go to college. You're a good kid. Like, get there. That's a generational thing. I'm a Gen Xer. But I have a passion for it. And when I meet veterans, I meet those men and women who have served, those are serving now that chose that avenue. And that's right for them. I want to honor them. And when you start diving into the context of what the VA loan was all for, why did it show up in the 1930s? What in the heck was $2,500 is what they're guaranteed you for housing. 1930s, right? And as you watch the decades grow and how it's adjusted to the margins, how it's adjusted to the needs, then you get in the Navy Blue Water Act in 2018, which was to honor Vietnam veterans for a lot of the service they did, which wasn't acknowledged. You start to really kind of personify into what this is. You find your reason and your connection, and you bring that passion into what you're doing. Now, all of a sudden, it's a mission. It's not a job. And when you have a mission, when you have something that's bigger than yourself that you push forward into, that you can start to see impact, how can you not get up every day and just keep going and want to keep spreading the news and want to keep putting the word out there? So that's, I don't know if that's why, but that's my why.
You gave me goosebumps because you're also, that's the thing too, I wanted to mention with the VA and with how you do things, you're so willing to adapt to what's coming up with technology wise, which I think is just a big piece of being relatable to the community, and leveraging it for your grandpa's stuff the way you did. It's giving you insights just into his life and now your life, because you're obviously you're descendants of that.
Mhm.
That's a big piece for me on my side too. So I appreciate that more than you know. VA specific,
Yeah.
VA Summit at TAG. What's
Yeah.
your philosophy on it? What do you want people to know? People that have been to the VA Summit before, oh, what's the differences? What are we actually adding to this mix that we haven't done in the past?
Absolutely. So get really tired of just sitting and listening to people talk about their experiences and not giving me a tangible walk away. Like, what do I take from this and actually then make action? Right. And so we're talking to Cake, we're talking to Terry, and they all have access and things they want to share with you. And so when we looked at the VA Summit this year, I looked at the concept and went, okay, some of the best, most impactful things I've ever done caused me to talk to the people around me. And if you know about Vetted VA and what we've been doing for the last 6 years, it's creating communication around a core topic, but creating commonality and understanding on that topic so that we can all move forward together from at least the same starting point. We may have to adjust how we arrive to that starting point, but once we get there through the training and the dialogue and the service, now we're moving forward in step. This summit will be a lot about that. We're going to do some open book testing on your tables. We've got some engagement. Bring your cell phones. We're going to be doing some, I heard about what you guys did with your Jeopardy board. I loved it. I thought it was such a great idea. And I'm excited to do it in our way with this too. It's like, hey, here's your question. Hop on your table. If you can't find it fast enough, talk to the people around you. That's how we get to solutions faster. It's not a one siloed issue. When we're there, we're going to spend some time doing that. We're going to spend some time doing some whitewater troubleshooting. What are the problems you're running into? How can we get past those? If anybody's watching social, you might have seen a couple weeks ago, Christopher wrote a post that kind of got a little sideways. It was like a TBD post, right? Do we TBD, or can we actually build a look? I think if we talk to most of our wholesale lenders, they will tell you the reason they don't love TBDs is because people send in a TBD. They put time and effort with their underwriter or their account managers or their AEs. And guess what? They get an answer. They give them an answer in good faith. And then the person takes that TBD and goes and shops it somewhere else, maybe with the findings. And so you don't have this pull through. And so the lender's looking at it from a business perspective, like, why would we do this? I would propose a lot of TBDs in today's technological aspects don't actually need to be done if we understand how to build a scenario correctly. And in the VA loan specifically, I'm not talking about any other loan product out there. The VA loan in the TBD situation, maybe it's more the scenario and the story you're telling. So we want to do a session in this summit as well. We're going to talk about why an underwriter takes personal risk when they approve a VA loan and what that does to them. Do you know they actually have a permanent record with the VA as an underwriter? If they get dinged or called out and audited, they carry some scars. I've got some underwriters who have some scars, and I trust them with all my loans. I would trust them all the time if it was the best option for the borrower. I still shop all my loans. They don't go to one lender. But when I get to that lender and I get to use them, I'm like, hey, I want that underwriter. Why? Because an underwriter that walks around with some scars, like, yeah, I had an audit from the VA. Yeah, I didn't pass. I learned a couple of good things. It's like, perfect. I want you. Why? Because when I have that next hard loan that we need to manually underwrite to get through, you're going to understand how to help me frame it and tell me up front, this isn't going to work, or here's how it is going to work, and we're going to do this. So we're going to spend some time doing that, and then we're going to just talk over on community-based land. It's only 2 hours, 3 to 5, June 4th. It's at the Omni Hotel, the main hotel there for the TAG event. And then we kick off right into like an open bar happy hour. So why would you not come hang out, talk about VA stuff with us? Sit, kneel, bend. Let's have fun. It's not stage presentations. It's going to be a lot of high impact. We got a couple cool announcements we're making at that event, and I'm really excited to have it.
No, we're excited to have it there too. And then, yeah, listen, after you have your VA training and we go through all of it, we're going to have a couple cocktails and we can get into arguments on why one is right and one is wrong.
That's right.
We're ready for those conversations as well. And then I will ask you one last question on here. When you think deeply just about the educational piece and being informed and being on top of everything and the constant changes with the VA, like the amount of people that don't know underwriters can get audited, those are all real conversations that need to be had. What do you say to somebody going into this that maybe isn't as open-minded? What would you say to them to get them to see the other side of things? What would you say to them to, hey, you know what, come in here with an open mind, here's why? What's the message to people like that?
The lack of having an open mind can stem from just a couple things, but primarily I'd say it's fear. I don't want to be wrong, therefore I'm not going to allow myself to know or find anything else that would possibly cause to prove me that I was wrong or incorrect. The fastest way you can get to the end of that argument will be the better for you. Get to okay with being wrong. Get to okay with being corrected. And understand that correction is sometimes the most loving and real way that you are treated as a human being in this world. Because somebody who has the care and time, compassion to correct you, either is trying to ensure that you as a professional, as a human being going forward, do not continue to make poor choices or incorrect choices, or at least is aware of all the opportunities and options in front of you. In the military, not a veteran, by the way. I know I've adapted a lot of lingo, but let's just say this: left and right lateral limits in the field of fire. I've read some manuals now, thanks to Christopher Griffith. But when you put the left and right lateral limits in there, you've got this much space. When you can expand those, when you can expand them, or you know who has the one to your right, you know who has the one to your left, and how to engage with them, your field of vision gets so much bigger than what you can do just as a human person. Like right here, that's all I got, right? But the more I learn and the more I can gain and the more I know, and then, oh, look, KT's over here. He can talk to me more about non-QM. Apparently he's had some good experiences. I'm going to call him. Hey, Jonathan's over here. Man, hey, Terry's over there with data. Like, I better call her. Like, my field of vision just gets so much bigger, and it doesn't rely on me. So if you have any caution about like, yeah, those guys, all they do is talk about VA loans. All they do is tell me to train. We do a lot. And you know why? Because every time I turn around, I realize I don't know everything. I'm learning a ton of stuff. And every time I pick up the handbook, I keep finding stuff that I didn't remember, or I forgot, or I needed to be reminded of. And I need a community that helps hold me accountable to that. And that's what we want to build. That's what we support you with. That's why AIME has been such a great partner, and why we're excited to be a member of AIME as well in this way, because we just want to keep bringing that value. And that is why we host things like this. By the way, I didn't mention it. One of our last sessions in the summit is going to be building the perfect VA loan pipeline process. Let's do it, guys. Like, we're going to whitewater this together, share your best practices. Don't hold back. You know why? Because at the end of every one of our VA loan processes is a veteran or an active duty service member who's earned this right to use this loan product. And if we aren't sharing with each other openly how best to serve them, then what are we doing saying we're VA experts? Open your arms, open your eyes, open your hearts. Let's go. We got more people to serve. And there's a big market out there that needs us, that is being bought by some pretty shady marketing.
Open your hearts. I for some reason, I knew asking him that question, we would go down this path because of how thoughtful and detailed this human being is. He's been a great friend of mine, a great friend of the community, pouring his heart and soul into everything that he does. And I saw KT, who's a veteran, a Marine. And as you were talking about the left and right, I saw his face nodding like, yes, sir, you're spot on. And so just to know you're so integrated with the lingo, not being a veteran, me also not being a veteran, I love being able to learn stuff like this. Nathan Nottingham, for everything. Thank you for being who you are. Thank you for opening your heart to our community. And
likewise, thank you.
Friends, see you in a couple weeks.
Yep.
All right. We are going to get us ready to close out, and I'm going to bring my friend Kenneth Travis over here. But KT, you know, I want to talk a bit about last week, and you spent some time over here. I'll be careful with how I say it this time. All right, my friend. But KT, we had an event, and there was an event at my house after UWM Live. And one of the nights I told KT, hey, just stay at my place for the night. We will connect. We'll talk business. We'll talk AIME. We'll just talk everything. We'll talk life. And so KT, being the human being that he is, he bought this nice bottle of rye that is now my new favorite rye that I enjoy, because he just happened to pick a very nice bottle. And not that it's very rare I have a cocktail nowadays, just with how much I have going on. But we sat outside on my deck, and we had a glass, and then we called somebody. We called Neil Dingra, just had a conversation about life. And what I want to just talk to you about, KT, is the people that you surround yourself with, and the importance to make sure that you're constantly reassessing your circle. You're one of the people now that have gotten close, and we're building our trust, and we have our circle, but then we're being integrated in other circles, and we're building awesome relationships, and we're doing it together. And you're connecting me to your people. I'm connecting you to my people, and we're bringing the right winners in. What do you say about that? Why is it so important to constantly be assessing your circle? Why is it so important to make sure you're always looking to add winners into that circle? How has that served you well?
Yeah, I read something a long time ago, and I've heard this quote a million times, and I don't know who said it, but I think it was maybe Jim Rome. I don't know, but the top 5 people you hang out with, you become. And I just feel that if you're going to hang out with turkeys, you're going to be a turkey. You want to soar with the eagles, you got to hang out with eagles. You got to hang out with people that are going to help you sharpen your axe, people that you can learn from, people that are, moving in the right direction. It's like being married. It's like when you're married, you got to, be equally yoked, but then grow together, because if not, you grow apart, and, it's just not as, you just can't bring as much value to the table. And I think relationships that, are important to me. I think that they should be important to a lot of people in terms of, not just to get something out of it, but to have real impact, to have real influence. It's not, and it's not always the things that you say, it's your actions. It's giving without any expectations in return. What I've noticed about you, John, and I recognize this in you, and Kobe Bryant says it, like, Kobe Bryant would say, game recognizes game. So when you see someone out there doing the work and doing the things and staying focused on the things that are important to them, you recognize it. And one of the things I've recognized in you is you're a giver. You're a giver of your time and your resources. You want to see people win. I'm the same way. I want to see people win. And I think the way that we do that is we bring people together. We bring high achievers together, and you put them in a room, and, you pull back the curtain, you say, hey, let me show you what I got. And then, oh, what do you got over there? It's like, yeah, man, let me show you. And it's just really, it's community. It's community at the highest level. And that matters.
It matters so, it matters so deeply, KT. And then just being aware of the other individuals, right? Like being aware of the conversations that you have, being aware of those around you. And I'm gonna leave y'all with this. It's a good quote. It's about life. It's about perspective. It's about staying in front of, what's in front of you. And it's about understanding when there's the right time to help and when there's a time to coach.
Yeah.
A lot of times we go into situations wanting to be right. And that's okay. There's a time and place for that, right? Especially military, life or death, where it's like, we just got to move. We have to get in the right direction. But here's what I have learned. Most people go into situations very frustrated and irritated. And it's hard to always look at the other person's shoes in that situation. But here's what I will tell you. The quote is this. When somebody is drowning, that is the wrong time to ask them if they know how to swim. And I've been thinking about that quote a lot, where we want to go into a situation wanting to be right, whether it's with a lender, whether it's a friend, whether it's an underwriter, whether it's a vendor, whether it's a processor, whatever the communication is. We go into the situation ready to point the finger. And that person might be drowning at that time. They might not know what's going on. They might be so frustrated. They might be so high on emotion that your approach is throwing off what could be a potentially great relationship. And I want you to think about that a lot going into the conversations that each and one of you have, whether it's with a lender, with an underwriter, with a vendor, with your colleague, with a real estate agent. Are they in a position to where they just need help not drowning? And if they are, get them out. Help them get out. And then after you get them out, have the conversations you want to have. Have the direct dialogue. Build out processes, build out plans. But just remember, there's a time and a place for all of that. So, are you helping somebody, or are you making it worse for them? That's just something I think about quite a bit.